Episode 23 of the Consistency Podcast is here. My name is Steve from Gloucester. And without further ado, I want to bring in my guest, Andrew Augustus, the Goose.
The Gus, Goose, everything. How's it going, Steve?
Hey, man. How you doing?
Good.
What's
Good.
new?
A lot of what's new? I mean, having fun working on this. Sorry for the camera switch.
Yeah, no,
the
it's all
shake.
good.
But no, we're good working on the new adventure. As everyone's kind of figured out, the first one's going to be the game streaming, so it's going to be announced Gaming with Gus.
Awesome.
So we're gonna be starting that, probably officially launching next in March, but we're gonna kind of iron out the stuff right during February, get the goods and bads in that.
That is
and then
cool.
and yeah, so working on that, having fun, chilling with the dogs, cutting grass, playing PlayStation.
You know what?
Anything else you want to bash me for?
No, nothing at all. You look relaxed, and I noticed that with you and Cullinane last week in studio. You guys both look relaxed, funny, laid back. Is it more freeing now to be in that studio?
It's again, like I was joking on it on Thursday, but it's kind of true. It's like being in that chair is much different than being a third chair. When you're sitting there, there's a lot of things that you're worried about that Kirk really doesn't care about, but like you have to have it because you want it to make it look good. You want it to be professional. So making sure all the audios, the visuals, getting cuts, working on those things, trying to manage all that. It's like, as people can see, when my mind starts going, it starts to get into like overload drive. Yeah. So now being in that third chair, like I'm there, focus on the conversation, make a comment when I sees fit, trying to find my right spots. I mean, I was terrified going in the first time because like all I had known from being on the air there was just me being shitty on the air. Like I knew I was.
Yeah.
So it's just now it's just more freeing to be myself, and it's like, look, I'm excited whenever Justin or Coleman text me, like I'll go in if they need it. If any of them get sick and they need another hand there, of course I'd go in. But
right,
it's definitely freeing. It's a much different experience, which is nice.
Yeah, because it seems like being behind the glass, you're walking on eggshells the entire time. Like you're worried about audio, sound. If Kirk's gonna like go off on something, is that pretty much the whole process? Like where you're walking on eggshells, pretty much?
I wouldn't say walking on eggshells. It's just everyone wants to do the best job they can, and we want to put out the best product possible. So, and Coleman really cares about that, and it shows. So it's one of those things like you're just trying to make sure everything works around, and even like I think it was Coleman this week who said it. About like kind of getting like the feedback and just getting like crippling, like especially getting all the like ideas. I should do this, go do this, go do this, go do this. It's like there's points where it's like if I did something that was the wrong, like and someone wanted this to be like, oh no, that was my idea. So it's like it's one of those things that like there was a couple ideas I thought of, and then as I was going through back some of the suggestions, it was like, oh, there it is there. And you're like, oh shit, that's not good. Right. So it was definitely like a crippling point. And with everything going on at home as well, it was just kind of like a perfect storm of everything. But now like being removed and taking a breath, it's a better move for the show. This is honestly like, this is what it should have probably been from the beginning. So I can't hold any anger or ill will towards that. And like I told my wife and cousin on the day of Saco, like the one benefit I looked about doing that experience, if I got the job or not, was that I'm at least part of the world now. And they like, hopefully I did good enough that they'd have me come in every once in a while as a fill-in if needed.
Sure.
So, and that's kind of like just my approach is going to be going forward. Like I'm lucky enough to kind of stumble into this new opportunity. The schedule allows me to be able to do both when needed. Like I'm very excited to do the road trip. It's gonna be fun. So I have a couple spots I'm thinking of already. So it's one of those things that it sucked going through it, but in the end, I think everybody's won long term.
Right. Now, now correct me if I'm wrong. Was it more of a hybrid role for you? Because I know when Justin was brought in, Kirk talked about Justin being more hybrid where he can produce, do content. Was that specified with you when you got the job?
There was, as Kirk's always been open. It's like, if you have an idea, go do it. And that at the end of the day, it was more on me not speaking. Like I never DM'd Kirk anything. Like I rarely talked to Kirk. All my communications went through Coleman because it was like that's the
Yeah.
way it was going to
Yeah.
be. So and I was fine with that. And I probably should have spoke up more. I should have like been more assertive for it. It was just kind of a like a whole like a scared to do it like a fear thing. But
Mhm.
now like I mean I don't text I don't text Kirk at all. But like if
Yeah.
at least I have his number saved. So like if he calls or texts or needs something, then
Yeah.
but it's like one of those things that I'm just like I I should have there's a lot more I should have done and like looking back on it, missing some opportunities. There's a lot of things I would have changed for sure.
Sure.
But in the end, it's like I can't go and change that. So
Right.
it's
Of course.
at the end of the day, it's what happened. And look, I don't have any ill will towards Justin. Coleman and I are good. I'm still good with
Yeah.
her. Like I'm still good with the show. I still listen every day.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so it's
Well, here's the thing, Gus. You know, a lot of bosses you probably had in the past were very open with communication, telling you how you do. Was that tough with Kirk? Because we've been, we're in studio. You see it. He walks in, he walks out. He doesn't say two words to anybody. Was it difficult to not get any feedback from him?
no, not at all. Because we're all grown adults, and I if I was that concerned, I needed it to be the one to initiate it.
Mhm.
It's not up to Kirk to do that. Like
Yeah.
I'm 33 years old. I should be man enough to be like, hey, this is what I need.
Right.
So that's again, it's all on me. Like
Mhm.
and I get that. And I think in the end, this is going to work out better for the show with this new iteration. So
Yeah.
it's a win for the show as a fan of the show. It's a win. And now I get to have some more fun doing what I
Exactly.
like to do.
Yeah. What was it? Yeah. What
Not
was
to
a
say
good
I
day
didn't
for you?
like what I was doing. I love
Yeah.
what I was doing.
What did you like about it, Gus? What made a good day for you?
I mean, it just going in there and just being like bringing up the topics, kind of being able to be myself because throughout every job I've had, I've never been able to truly just be me.
Mhm.
I've always had to like, all right, gotta watch what I say, gotta do this, gotta do everything was that. So kind of being able to be myself and like getting my feet comfortable underway with that was always the fun aspects for it. Even getting beat up, it's
Yeah.
like yeah, it sucks, but it's like, look, I brought this on myself. Like, just take the punch, keep on, like, try to get better, and like
Yeah.
still doing those things
Was that
slowly
the
but
biggest
surely.
challenge? Like to try to avoid the punches and try to avoid
It's,
like him?
I mean, I was just there's again, it's I should have. There's a lot more different things I should have done. I was just so hyper focused on making sure like I think having that title producer was like what I got hyper focused on because like from a tech side, I'm very competent on the tech side.
Yeah.
Like it's like everyone what was I where was I at when I did some math the other day? I did math the other day and everyone's like, geez, you beautiful mind to that. It might have been on the show. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or no. Or was it last night on the 420 show? It was something, but I can just the way my mind works sometimes it gets into this like when it comes to audio, for example, I'll trace all the wires and stuff with my fingers. Just be like, all right, I want the audio to go from here. It's got to go into here. So that can like, it's a weird thing, but it works for me.
I
So
saw you in action doing it. You were
yeah,
like, yeah, you're really good at it.
but it's one of those things like I'm very much on that tech side and now going, what was crippling to me was always being like, oh, it's the Gus show. I don't want it to be the Gus show. I'm not trying to be the Gus show. Now it's just even more coming the Gus show. Gotta hate like it really just kept piling up on that part. And it
Yeah.
sucks. So now it's like, all right, I'm starting this new thing. I got to do some easier stuff behind the scenes from an editing wise and marketing standpoints for
Mhm.
that. But then also I now get to also be myself. I get to kind of talk about more topics
Yeah.
like that I know would get like what was it the vodka was it the Doritos vodka
Sure. Yeah. Right.
it was one of the things like I wasn't gonna bring it up but it was just one of the random funny stories I saw so but
Right.
like now like things like that and talking with people about stuff so it's
Yeah. Now, are you texting them at all? Like, there were a couple audio issues where you like, do you
if
text them at
they
all? Be like,
I mean sometimes if it's like
yeah,
if I can diagnose it from afar then I
yeah,
can like I'll text them for that. Like even like the day was Mick was filling in when he couldn't do the phones. Like I knew the exact problem it was in 2 seconds. Like
right,
because I've been in there, I've seen it. So
yeah,
it's things like that. I
yeah.
don't know.
Now, is that water under the bridge now with Mick, or is there still
I,
some?
I mean,
Some.
it's the thing I always would say about like the Mick is that it's the way he went about it was very scummy, and
Yeah.
that just tells me a lot as you are, and it's like if he wants me on Beyond Average, we can come on, but like to say, oh no, you don't want it, then you want my job, you don't want my job, like that gets aggravating. Saying, oh, I don't want you to get fired, now I do want you to get fired, now I don't, like going back and forth. I have more respect for someone who just says, I have more respect right now for Daver than Mick, because Daver's been upfront about not liking me from the beginning.
Yeah,
type of thing. So look, if you have something, like, just be true to yourself. That's what I always say. So I don't like that scummy behavior going back and forth. And like even Montante with the M&M boys, like at least like that was like, I understand that it's upfront about it, but like even then I was just like, that's not my bigger issue as someone who honestly shot himself in the foot, because like realistically he was a heartbeat away from going in there.
Yeah, exactly. And
not even a heartbeat. Just
it's funny because like they were talking about the M&M boys, and you were still there, and I was like, what is going on there? So I could sense that there was some friction, not so much with Montante, but more with Mick.
Yeah, no. And like look at Subway, we were both there, we're shoulder to shoulder, didn't talk to each other. And I was like, all right, I'm fine. Like I'm not making extra effort for things. It's
exactly. Yeah.
That's all I do. So I'm focusing on me. I got a lot of shit I got to worry about.
Yeah.
So I'll do that and have fun with the other way.
Now when it comes to loyalty, though, I will say Coleman had your back 100%. Was that the case all the way through with him?
I love Coleman. Yeah, 100%. It's like Coleman coming in this with Coleman was great. Because he's he is a genuinely nice person. I can't stress that enough. And like, I don't know, like there was no animosity between him and I back there. It was like, we were good and we're still good.
Yeah.
I'll maybe we'll go see a game one day, like a Celtics game or something. Like we talked about doing some stuff on Marathon Monday for content and stuff that I'm going to go do. So there's still a lot.
I was going to ask you about that. Are you still like in touch with him? Are you guys friends?
Sometimes, like if they had, oh god, yeah, and Justin too. Like, so it's like I know will towards like when after Kurt called me, Coleman called me, and he was very genuine about it and was like beat up about it, and then Justin texted me. He's like, I'm sorry. And then he called me. Like, I'm like, dude, no, this makes like, I can't get mad. Like, as I said, if it was the M&M boys, I'd probably be feeling a lot different.
I would imagine. Sure.
I would definitely be more frustrated than that. But with Justin, it's like, that's where he should have been from the beginning.
And Justin's a good guy. I mean, he's the first guy who's going to reach out.
He gave me a ride high as shit that time. It was fantastic.
How many grams is it?
500 milligrams.
500. That's
5
amazing.
grams.
Yeah.
No, it's one, like I don't do it every day.
Yeah.
But like when I do it, it's a fun time.
I'm an advocate, man. I'm along those lines. I'm about 5 to 10, but not 500. But I think it's a great thing,
Yeah, no, as I tell everyone, it's like it's the hardest part for me right now, especially with this new thing, is like these legalities we have to go through because of like figuring out who can sponsor. We have to get data to show certain things in certain states. It's very frustrating. Yeah. But it's for me, I always say there's good positives and negatives to everything. And for me, like what I help with my weed, with what I use weed for, is I feel the most effective medicine for me. For my issues, and it works, and it's better than me getting hammered every night. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm that way too. I'm almost 3 years sober now, and I turned to gummies to be more of a relaxing way instead of drinking a lot. It's like maybe a gummy a day. It's not a bad thing.
No, and it's like there's, as I always would tell people, it's like if someone asked me if I smoked today and I said yes, it doesn't mean I'm high. Like it's like, because I have my pen, so if I like take a rip of it now, I'm not doing it to get high. I'm just keeping this level like for my anxiety and my depression. Like I'm keeping
depression.
It right where yeah. So it works for me. It's my thing, and look, like all kidding aside, like I never would do it like before the show. I was too paranoid. Like that's scary shit. Now I'm like, fuck, maybe I should have just been ripping a little bit before and get it like staying calm, and it would have been better. But
Well, Gus,
that's
you know how it is in studio. You make one little noise, and he's like, "What is that?
uh,
What's going on?" What, you know, you're like, how could you
everything.
everything? And to take people behind the scenes, it really is a quiet atmosphere. Like right at 9:30, like no one
Yeah.
is saying anything.
No, so basically the mornings would be Coleman and I would text all morning. We'd start kind of going through stuff. I'd have some audio, he'd have some audio. We'd bounce the ideas. We'd work on the sheet. The guests would come in. Some would talk, some wouldn't talk. And then like as soon as we heard steps, like starting at about 9:28, it starts about 9:28 every time. As soon as you hear steps, you're like, all right, is that Kirk? And then usually, since Coleman and I can't see him, we have to rely on the guest reaction
Yeah.
to see. I'm like, is that Kirk? And then Coleman and I are like hitting record, making sure we're putting the stream up.
Yeah.
And all
It's
that.
like the principal coming in. You get your phone, you're putting your phone away, you're like sitting up tight,
Yeah.
you're sitting up in the chair, and you're like, all right, here he comes, like.
Exactly. It's definitely a fun experience, and I love going in there. It's good to talk with everyone, and it's a unique show because not many. And I honestly don't think there's another like media personality out there that could do what Kirk does on a daily basis, bringing in guys like me, you, Pat Ford, and making it entertaining content that a lot of people talk about.
Yeah. What was the relationship like with Blind Mike? I mean, you guys were always laughing, but was
Mike's fine. I like Mike. Yeah, Mike's great. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't talk to Mike a lot. Like, I wouldn't say we're friends, but like, if he reached out for something and needed something, I'd be happy to help him. Yeah, he's a great guy. It's nice. Everyone's nice so far, except
because it seems like, him being in twice a week. You probably got there a little bit earlier. So was he like good to talk to and bounce ideas off of? Or
like we kind of just, I mean, more so it was like bringing up stuff that I knew Kirk wouldn't want to talk about at times.
Yeah,
and comedy stuff and that. But other than that, like he would just sit there, go on his phone at points, kind of sit there in silence. Like it's what. Like we all were doing things. That's
right.
all.
Now, was the Rico event one that you want to take a mulligan on, or is there anything you want to take a mulligan on?
Oh God, yeah. There's a lot of things I'd take a mulligan on. If there's a lot of things I would do differently for sure.
Yeah.
Starting with the text to John Rich on the plane ride.
About the airport.
Yeah. No, of course I mean I shouldn't have gone in with the friendly attitude. I should have just started streaming live. And that was like another thing. And I was trying to figure out exactly how I want to, it was the genesis of a good idea was there, but my execution was terrible.
Now, speaking of ideas, how do you think this trip's going to go? This 2 weeks?
Fantastic. Like, so I've driven, if we're going 90, I've driven from Rhode Island to Carson City, Nevada. And on the way out, I went 90. And on the way back, I went 80.
Yeah.
So if we go 90 heading west, I am excited because if you stop off about 15 minutes off the highway on Route 90 in Austin, Minnesota, is the Spam Museum.
The Spam Museum?
The Spam Museum.
Okay, yeah.
And you can learn about the wonderful history of spam and where it's popular and why it's popular and where it became big. So yes, I've done this trip once. I know a lot of random roadside things that I know. Said he wanted to go see some stuff.
Now, is this going to be the Gus bus? Are we going to get the bus?
I mean, if we get if it's the Gus bus, there's going to be so much weed on it. No, I don't know exactly what we're going to be driving in yet.
Yeah,
but I mean, I have driven an RV before, so if we can find an RV that wants to sponsor this, we need hotels.
Yeah. Now you've been talking about your future plans. Fill us in again. What is going to be going forward with you?
So I'm going to be doing like some social media marketing stuff that helps out with cannabis companies all throughout the Northeast, and then there are also this company I work for starting a media wing. So they have some bigger names that they're starting podcasts to launch off with. And then they're going to have me do streams probably 2-3 times a week. And then eventually I'll have a podcast as well. It'll be like an interview style, just sitting down, smoking and just talking and getting people to open up that way.
Yeah, so, that's right. Everything's in your wheelhouse.
I can do so much of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
it's what it is. I'm excited. It's fun. And it's a free schedule. So when I need to go in, I can pop in. Like if Coleman's like, hey, can you come in tomorrow? Yeah, I can come in tomorrow. So, and I can be on the late notice, which is great. So
yeah, and I know the one last thing I had for you. I know sometimes we had a little bit of friction, but the one thing you said to me that I don't really appreciate is that you could beat me at cards.
Oh, of course I could. It's not even a question.
Not even all right. I gotta say, and remember with Coleman, I had asked you guys to play, but you guys are going down to Delaware.
Well, that's what we're saying. So we have the cameras will be there.
Okay.
So whenever we make that happen, we can definitely make it happen.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna tell you to Google something or Amazon it after. There's a game that we play. It's called the horse racing game. And it involves cards and dice. If you haven't checked it out, that's part of what we play. It's like a horse racing game and then also cards itself. And it's so addicting.
Okay. Horse racing game. Let me see if I can find this damn thing.
On Amazon. It's like
is it like the one with like the one with the pegs?
Yes.
And it's like finish line. Okay.
Yeah, that thing is addicting. Like you play like $4 a thing, 3, 2, and it all adds up into like this big pot. The pot could be like 150, 200 if you roll the dice the incorrect way. It just we play that for like an hour. It's crazy.
Yeah, the only horse racing card game I would play was drinking, and you would have each ace lined up, and you all make bets, and then you flip the cards over. If it's a spade, the spade moves up one, and first one to get to the finish line wins drinks and loses drinks. It was all fun. We were degenerates in college.
So what do you have for me, Gus? Anything on your mind?
I mean, what's with this new nice Steve bullshit act? Like it's like you keep flip-flopping back and forth. You can't do that. Oh, and you froze.
Welcome back to the Steve Show. Consistency. We're having a problem. Well, okay.
There we go.
All right. Oh, now you guys are gone.
Oh, now we're back.
I know, but the nice guy is who I am daily, So it's like,
So then why have the shtick to begin with of being an asshole then?
I know you are right, and I already took my beating the other night from Menor, so I don't.
Hold on, stop. I'm producing this show now. Now I have to fucking hand. He's not being an asshole now and stopping later. He's being his fucking self. Don't listen to these fucking assholes. Steve, listen to me. Don't listen to these people telling you how you fucking feel. You wanted to call Gus out today, and you don't want to call him out tomorrow. You fucking do it. Fuck them. You could think what you fucking want. That's how this show will be fucking run now. This is the Consistency Podcast.
That's
we get winners and consistency. Robbie P Show.
Yeah. Something that you learn through trial and error, Gus. You know how that goes. You try things, they work, they don't work, and then you rely on like how you were raised. I had 2 good parents. They raised me right, so it was kind of like, all right,
let's raise me right, but that's a lot of wrong going on with me.
Same. So how did your dad take all this? Have you talked to him about it, or?
I haven't talked to my dad specifically. My mom knows what I'm doing now, and all she said to me was, "Times are changing, huh?" And I go, "Yep."
But yes, they are. It's going to be in a good way, though. It's going to be in a good way.
It's a great thing. Now I get to just sit and when else can I say like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go game for 4 hours and smoke a couple of joints and be like, all right, this is work.
Right. And going back to that, Gus, with you and I, Kirk like brought it out in the studio. It was more of a me and Kirk thing as opposed to like a me and you thing.
Oh yeah, but it's still, you were taking shots at me regardless. So when shots come my way, I'm always gonna fire back on it.
And you did right in doing that. So that was.
I mean, of course I did right. I'm always gonna. The one thing I'll always say is that from my takeaway whenever I go in and when I wasn't is at the end of the day, I've always tried to do what I thought was best. Like,
right. Yeah.
I've always tried to just be me. I'm not coming in with like when they were attacking me for the Heelys things. Oh, attention to me. I've had those things since my wife got them for me, and I just like wearing them around. They're fun to use. They're stupid. Right. Yes, they're fun. I have a lot of stupid shit. Like I'm looking around my room right now. I have a fucking Lego Milnor. I got a luchador mask. I got all my discs.
I see a lot of things you got going on there.
I got my discs going on. Like I have like I have a decanter that is a middle finger. It's literally giving you the bird.
Hey, so who came up with that underwater video? Was that Coleman. Both of you guys?
Coleman? That was Coleman. He goes, we're gonna do this underwater video. Act like you're swimming in the studio. I said, okay. Like I am a I'm a very good. You tell me to do something, it'll get done. Like
Right. Yeah.
I can take direction really well. Am I the most creative person? No, but I'll make it work.
Yeah. And that's where I had thought, and maybe I had the wrong impression because going into it, I'm like, I thought you were going to be the creative guy. And like the first call, I was like, is he a Chris Curtis? Like, that's a question I was like,
yeah,
it's not Curtis. Like,
it's like, I mean, there's some like I have some ideas I think are good that might work, some ideas that probably won't work.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's like, I'm not afraid of like, look, one day I'll probably just record an episode of all these different dumb ideas I've had.
Yeah.
We'll see how we can see how that would play out. It's one of those things for me though. It's just getting back to everything. It's just being yourself is what's my stressing point. And like, look, if I did something and I didn't feel like I'd do it, it wouldn't be authentic.
Right.
So like I feel like even if I went to Subway before Justin, or like I did something before Justin, it still also wouldn't have felt right. I don't think, because it wasn't Justin. Like that is such a Justin thing to do, and that's the only way I could describe that.
Yeah. But the one thing about you, Gus, that I truly respect is the thick skin that you have and the ability to laugh at everything. And I think, with Mick, we saw like the sensitivity that he walked out of the studio. You really know how to take the good and the bad.
Look, I mean, I had 2 older brothers growing up. So the running joke is they beat the self-worth out of me. So it's one of those situations that, look, I've been yelled at a lot. I've played sports all growing up throughout my life. So look, I've had some great coaches who were nice. I've had some hard ass coaches who yell, scream at you, make you run laps and shit.
Yeah.
I've taken the yelling. My dad yelled at me before. Look, it's going to happen. I can't control how they feel. I fucked it up. They have every right to feel that way. I just got to take it and learn from it.
Yeah. Aside from mowing the lawn and doing all that stuff, how did you, or maybe someone, like myself or others that are facing some pressure, how do you deal with it? Like, how did you block out all that criticism? And it wasn't just me that was criticizing you. It was a lot of people. Like, how did you
no. Look, it's what I always tell myself is that about roughly 20% of the American population is actually on Twitter. So anything you see on Twitter is just a small segmented person. Like one of my favorite things is like David would go off saying, "Oh, you suck at this, you suck at this. Oh, you should give up, blah, blah, blah." I go, at least like, and I would just tell myself, at least I'm not obsessed with someone I think sucks, is terrible, is a piece of shit like that. So it's a lot of just inner thought process, inner workings, being like, all right, I've reached a point in my life now where I have to be able to rationally say I can control the things I can control. Here's what I can't control.
Right.
I can't control what people say, what comes out of their mouths. But what I can control are my actions. So I'm just going to worry about my actions and put my focus and energy into trying to figure out X, Y, and Z rather than what A, B, and C are saying. Because at the end of the day, if you want to have anything involved, like any sort of public, I think also what helps is like, seriously, is going through the Huffington Post shit as well and getting like it kind of going it from a national level and getting the hate that you get for something like that.
Yeah.
It just makes it easier to be like, all right, these are just idiots online. I don't care. Move on to the next.
Yeah. Now, from you mentioned a little bit about the political stuff. How come, like, when it comes to journalism now, or why aren't more people?
Why aren't more people?
The Steve Show. We're having technical
difficulties. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Why aren't more people going after like the Chris Curtises for like that line? Are people like too afraid now? Like
no. It's definitely not a fear thing. I think for that specific example, I think Kirk's right when they said they made a deal with the Globe and Murchison. And look, it's like he's not even getting it. His joke was just as bad as Tony Maz's joke.
Right. Yeah.
And he's not going to get as much of a punishment for it. So it's not necessarily you don't care. He's just not as big as name as Maz is part of it. And I think there's also that deal with the Globe. And also I think it's partially could be relation to Kirk being the one to bring it up. So
Yeah.
it's like a whole
Yeah, because it's just like we just don't have enough turtle boys like that are willing to go after it a little bit more.
But there's an issue with like my issue with Turtle Boy has always been there's a lot of good stories he's uncovered, but to get there, he's made himself part of the story, which you should not be doing. That's where always I have my issues with the way Turtle Boy does his things. But with that being said, I think living in the Northeast, living in a highly blue state, you're going to get what you're going to get from it. And you're just going to know. Like if you wanted someone to really kind of get after like them, you need a true conservative publication. And the Herald's really not that conservative.
That's not that. No, right. So there's going to be no new stuff for you coming forward. Like Steve's with the main wire. Cullen's trying to break news stories. Like you're not going to be the next KMS producer to go into the news world.
No, God, no. I was already in the news world. Like I'm good. Like I found something that I can be me. I can relax. I can hopefully stop these grays from coming in on my beard.
No, they get worse, Gus.
Oh, I know. I'm not happy about it. Not happy about it.
I'm going to be 47 in May, and they just come. They don't stop.
Yeah. So. I'm not looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah. But anyway, Gus, I want to thank you so much for coming on. Best of luck to you. I hope everything goes well, and I hope this is an olive branch between the two of us.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to come on and be your first guest, Steve. It was an honor.
All right. Thank you so much. And I'll definitely send out a date when we have our next COD event.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
All right.